So as one can see, it's another mail reception. Starting off with the package that I had to open and restart in the video. The My Little Pony two-player starter. Now, interestingly, obviously we haven't gotten to playing it yet, but this was one of the ones I actually wanted to get because it has exclusive cards. The Maud and the DJ Pone characters are only available. This apparently was some sort of like sub-release where this was the only product for that release. I can't, the information on that's kind of weird, but it's another, obviously it's two theme decks, but that's the only way you can get those characters. And we talk about stuff like that as stuff falls over in our videos about how, some of these releases, they have these gimmicks where, you can't get blank card unless you buy the starter or whatever collector set. And it works in one way, but it's also really annoying for casual people who just don't want to spend that much money for, those sorts of things. So luckily I got a deal for that. So so this is lightweight. Get that out. This is really lightweight. I wonder why apparently just don't want to give up the ghost, do you? There we go. That is indeed. Wow, there's a lot of... I don't know why we have to do this much packaging, but anyway, so could have just done this in an envelope. For that SD Gundam game, I managed to track down someone who was selling sealed booster packs. Apparently there were two sets. I believe Explosive Victory is the initial release. And they had 3 packs for relatively no money, free shipping. Like, okay, I'll get those. What's interesting about this SD Gundam is that they had, like, the cards and the starters are actually exclusive to the starters. I know it's talked about hating that, but you get half the set literally by buying both those starters. I mean, like, they're, each card is only like represented like one time or so. So it's, for the sake of trying to get all of that, it's pretty good when you have a smaller object, but we'll see. All right, so we got this. I'm gonna try to do this without cutting myself. There we go. Or shaking too much the camera. So, all right. Okay. Is a starter deck's worth of cards. I'm going to have to see if this is exactly what I think this is, or... Sorry. So, they were claiming that this was 3 sets. Oh, all right, there's more in there. Whew! I got really worried for a second. So, obviously doing a little aside. So this is obviously Pocket, wow, wrong words. Maple Story. But there is when we were doing the opening of the starter deck and a red pack fell out, I was very confused. And I wondered if they represented all the colors. Now, someone was selling all 3 variations, obviously no box. So we have the green pack, we have the black pack, which is what I'm excited for, the red pack that I already have, but for the price paid, this is absolutely a steal. I need to see how much of the actual set, because the set itself is only like 90 cards. Now, obviously, I have 3 repeats of the blue pack. That doesn't really affect me too much. I think most people that were buying starters or whatever back then, that's just kind of standard. But getting access to I think they're Thief. I don't think they're Rogue. I think they're Thief. The Thief, color to get access to the set 1 of the Bowman. That's cool. So, satisfied with that pickup. Much faster shipping than some of my other ones, which, that's its own fight. We'll do the small one, then we'll finish off strong with the big one. Trying very hard not to knock and shake the camera. Okay, I see an upper deck thing. Oh, that's what this is. This is much larger than I was expecting. So if you watched our video on Shaman King, you heard me talk about the Quick Strike system. And they did do a Pirates of the Caribbean one. Now, I'm looking at this. I almost don't believe. No, that's a craft case. Okay, I was like, there's no way. So what I can tell you just because you look at that latch. That's no company unless this was like a promo or something. I'm gonna try and open this thing up. I mean, don't get me wrong. Did Upper Deck really? I mean, that's wow. If Upper Deck actually put this much effort into the two-player starter, I'm thoroughly impressed. I don't know if it's a demo kit or the actual kit itself. Let's try and get this thing open real quick. Do you not want to open? Oh, it comes from over on this side. All right. Or at least it feels that way. Well, I got one side. There we go. Got the other side. So they have, I mean, obviously there's our Captain Barbosa chamber card. It's, I'm going to assume that either someone, yeah, it looks like someone may have cracked this. It's whatever. I can reseal it. It's not a huge deal, but it's definitely a bit beat up. We might be having words with our vendor. And the cards themselves are in good enough condition. You can see the Shaman King stuff, the same sort of traits, but before Shaman King had them down there, now they sort of unified the system. I'm just extremely confused is what I am. I don't know how else to say it. Well, this card's also exploded. I'm just going to assume, well, I mean, because if you look at that tear, I don't know, I'll have to see. Maybe just their glue was that bad? I don't know. Or it banging around, I guess, maybe? Because you can see there's curling. Some really bad curling, too. I mean, we live in a moist state, so that kind of stuff happens, unfortunately, too much. I like the case a lot. If they were giving that away to everyone who bought a two-player starter, good for them. Because this feels like an old VHS case. I will have to investigate this more, but as with many of our things, these are, there's not a lot of information out there. It's like, hey, this happened. It does show the chamber card. I wasn't sure if all of them came with Jack Sparrow, but since we didn't get a Jack Sparrow, I'm going to assume that they all did not, just like they did for Shaman King, which is cool. Now let's get to the last big one. Since this is an unboxing, I will save the history for the history. Let's take a look at our, well, so big I shook the camera. So this should be a shipment from Shop Goodwill, which is an auction site, and sometimes you get good deals, but I hate their turnaround. Sorry, keep shaking stuff. Their turnaround time is some of the worst in the freaking industry. They got like 4 or 5 days of process, and I'm not talking weekend days. I'm just talking days period. So here are 2 tins, and I'll open this one. This thing weighs something like almost 7 pounds. I think it's like 6 3/4. And I'll just open this. That's me shaking the table this time, not actually shaking the camera. Well, I will give them. They bubble wrapped the living daylights out of this, which is good, because the one I got for Redekai was not packaged well in the slightest. Just got to keep loosening you up, packing tape. You're going to give up at some point. Tape does not beat knife. So this was a lot, meaning I don't know everything that's in it. It just was a big old picture. There is a Final Fantasy TCG. Okay. Well, from everything I understand, this encompasses more or less like the entire universe. I'm going to assume by the simple volume, so there's 2 tins, as you can see. I'm going to assume from the amount gotten, I can at least build functioning decks. And if you look at that, like I can tell you from the Christmas, these are unplayed cards. These are definitely just opened up and put right in. I assume the rares are taken out. They have a linen finish on the back. That's kind of nice. So, I mean, obviously you have like the CG era ones. I'll try to keep them a little further away. You have the anime style characters. I don't know any of the system. You have that, about the 32-bit, 64-bit era when they were trying to get into, that rendering. So, I mean, it's interesting. I'm going to do a ton more research. But so let's look at. Here we go. I'm going to assume that's some sort of boss or finisher or whatever. I mean, I can read what the card says. I mean, they're in English, but it's a game that it seems like we're somewhere in like that anime Pokemon era of stuff. I mean, the card art looks good. It's a wall of text, which I'm not a big fan of. Let's see. I'm looking here at letters because I have a lot of -C, which I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I'll probably have to look up to see whether or not, -C is a common or what it is. Let's just flip through a few more. Because these are all something, something, something number -C, which I assume just is a serial number. I don't think there's any real way of... Well, I mean, I don't know. I'll be doing more research, and we'll be coming back to that. I like the look of it. It's got the classic, damage levels in the thousands. That's just, obviously it's because it's a Japanese property. So, yeah, I have quite a few of the Final Fantasy cards to get into. Take that off. So, while that might be my biggest haul, obviously it's not the one I'm ultra excited over. I'm really excited to get to those. Just see what's in them. Everything's said and done. I mean, this was a pretty interesting open, just by the fact that, we have this. The Avatar The Last Airbender version of Quick Strike, no one wants to part with that for reasonable money, so if they ever do, I'll take a look at it, but this one's a little more reasonable. Shaman King's dirt cheap, and I think I actually kind of like the Quick Strike system. But all that aside, that's our, mail opening for today.